Hello everybody, this is Purge. I'm bringing you guys a game between Complexity and PotmBot. This is for the ESWC North American Finals. The winner of this, best of three, gets to go to Paris, and I'm joined by Dota Commentary's Bballin. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Purge, and it's been a while since we've seen some high-quality North American Dota.
Yeah.
The EG League is going on. Be sure to check that out. I'm sure the ticket will be up when possible.
Cool.
But right now we're going to see a matchup between two teams that haven't played any officials in quite a while, at least 2 weeks.
Yeah, I believe Complexity, I was told by their manager that they haven't played very much, if any, since the International, and that was over a week ago now. Great times there. If you guys haven't checked it out, you're crazy. You can see it on the side banners, for God's sake. Like, come on, there's plenty of ads about that. PotmBot was arguably the one team that, as we led into the International, people said that these guys should really be invited, but, you know, it was like way too late. They didn't start getting really, really good until only a couple months before the Internationals, so some people argue that they should have been there. So it'll be interesting to see who can win between these two teams. But one very important thing to point out, Complexity is having roster changes. Jo is leaving the team. I believe he's being replaced by somebody. We don't know who it is. They wouldn't even tell PotmBot who it is. I don't know if they told them through whispers or whatever or what, but they have a mystery player.
Well, it's weird because actually just earlier today there was a statement made by the manager, Jason Bass, saying that Jo is still signed and there hasn't been any interactions with EG or anything like that, and Jo is still under contract. But I guess if this is a mystery player, then maybe something is going to go on. But anyway, Jo, of course, plays an important role to Complexity, and Complexity is known for their teamwork, so I'd hate to see such great synergy be disrupted like this.
Yeah, we'll see who it... I don't know. We don't know who it is. There's rumors about a couple different players all across the place. Players from EG, maybe players from other teams, maybe even unknown players. They were throwing out a couple names in chat, but I don't know which ones are jokes and which ones are real. So, for all I know, it could be anybody. But for sure, it's most likely to be a solo mid player. So, if that's what you guys are, that's probably where you guys should be thinking about where the guesses come from. So once again, this is a best of three. This is to figure out who is going to win the North American qualifier spot. The winner gets to go to Paris, I believe, for the
I'm
finals.
jealous.
And this is all expense paid trip, I believe, right?
I'm so jealous of Paris, of course, awesome place, and getting the opportunity to represent your country. I did an interview with at PAX with PotmBot, and they said
did
they
you?
would be extremely, extremely excited. And just some things about PotmBot is that they have a lot of respect for Complexity, and they don't scrimmage against them. Like, even though they're both North American teams, they don't really scrimmage against them. They actually scrimmage against IG quite a bit. But PotmBot is very, very, very ambitious and looks to be the best. And right now, they're looking to be very, very strong at this point.
So did you make it to the International at all while you were there in Seattle?
No, I was there for literally like 12 hours, and then I had to go home
Oh, I see. That explains
because
it.
school
Okay.
actually started the next week. But yeah.
That's too bad. I was gonna say I didn't see you there, and I was like, but if you were at PAX, I was like right there. Then, all right, yeah, 12 hours is really not a lot of time at all. So, all right, makes sense. So let's talk about the picks quick a bit here. We do see a Morphling first round ban. That was a hero that was just dominating all the way through the International, and also Lone Druid. That's pretty much the two go-to carries that we saw all the time there. Invoker ban, Darkseer, Lycan, and Naga. Siren first pick was a Rubik, and then we saw Nature's Prophet Tide out of PB, and then a Beastmaster Chen out of Complexity. What do you think about this draft so far?
Well, it seems to be Complexity has all the things going for them. They have solid push. They have auras with the Chen Beastmaster. They have a long lane soul, but they are on the Radiant side, so it won't be as effective as stacking the Ancients because, of course, Beastmaster won't have close proximity. But they have very versatile hero in the form of Rubik. And actually, just to go back to that Morphling pick, Morphling, although he's extremely dominant in the early stages of the National, actually, as the top 8 went on, his run rate dropped like a rock. Like,
Really?
I can't even... Like, only into the top 8. Before that, he was completely dominant. And then in the top 8, people just figured out, like, okay, Morphling can be beaten because he takes a bit of time to farm up. And just one more thing about PotmBot that I found out is that they aren't really looking to experiment with any new stuff in this series. They're waiting for the patch, and since any new patch has not come out, don't look for them to throw out anything too unusual.
Yeah, I did read some patch notes earlier today. I don't know if that was on. I'm guessing that was on test, but it wasn't anything significant really. It was just a couple. I don't even remember what it was, but it was no new hero and just a couple other small fixes like graphics. They updated a couple models and things like that. So nothing really major, but it's gonna be a Leshrac actually that PotmBot gets to work with. So I mean, they've got pretty good push right now. They've got Leshrac Edict plus tanking from Nature's Prophet Treant. So If it is going to be a Beastmaster long lane, there's a pretty darn good chance that they could take that tower quite rapidly, especially if they can pull a kill on the Beastmaster immediately. If there's nobody to pull the creeps past the tower, it's going to die to the Edict with some right-clicking. So,
Oh, for sure, for sure. And also, one thing that is notable about PotmBottom's laning is that they are very versatile. You can put Tidehunter in any lane. You could be a support. You could solo the long lane up against potential trialing with the Anchor Smash and the Stack Ancients. Leshrac could be soloing mid. He could get dual lane mid. Very, very versatile lanes. So that might be throwing Complexity for a bit of a loop. Of course, Nature's Prophet will most likely be soloing the bottom lane just so he can get some ganks and apply pressure. But hey, he might even see in the jungle. And that just really makes it difficult for Complexity to plan the lanes out, just because PotmBottom can pretty much do anything.
yep, and they're going to ban out Tinker, another very, very annoying hero. I was a little surprised to not see him played quite as much during the international tournament. I mean, right before going into the international, he was played very, very often as just kind of like a push zoner, and just the missile spam, just really annoying hero to deal with if he gets good farm in the early game. But I think maybe we saw some teams that had a little bit of trouble in the early game. They maybe lost the lane with him, and it's actually really hard to come back with the Tinker if you don't have a... I mean, he's amazing if you have a good start, but if he gets behind, it's kind of tough. So do you think that's maybe why we saw him phased out a bit?
Yeah, and also I think a lot of people were actually planning to do a lot versus Tinker. We didn't see it often enough, but there are a lot of strategies that are anti-Tinker, anti-Nature's Prophet, of course, Tiny Wisp, even Batrider if he blinks with the Flaming Lasso, and even if you get Storm Spirit, and he was actually seeing quite a bit. He got a 50% win rate if Dota Academy serves me right, which
For Storm
they always
Spirit?
do. Yeah, Storm Spirit had a 50% win rate, and he's often a very hard counter to Tinker, so there were a lot of potential counters to Tinker, and I think Tinker sort of saw his limelight fade away in the international too, just because there were so many options. But just seeing PotmBottom ban the Tiny, it brings a smile to my face. TC won't get his hands on his infamous Tiny.
Yeah, and I dare say Eho made Tiny more famous than any other team at the international, if you guys haven't checked out that game. I believe it was Ehome versus Orange, if I'm remembering correctly. It was a pretty insane game.
You are correct.
We also see a Luda band, actually, by Complexity Gaming. It's a hero that PotmBottom has actually been using the last couple weeks, even before the major surge that we saw from that hero during the international. We saw IG play that hero very, very often, with kind of mixed success. Some games worked out, some didn't as much, but definitely a hero that PotmBottom has drafted and used before.
Yeah, it's a bit curious because Complexity, they have all the makings for the lane, Beastmaster long lane, Rubik's mid, but they don't really have their hard carry, so PotmBottom really has to look out for something like maybe a Void. If Complexity does run Void, then they will most likely go for the Necro 3 push, but Complexity has a lot of hard carries open to them, or not really too many hard carries open to them, sorry, but they really need to think about who they want to fit in the lane to lane with the Shadow Shaman, just so that they can get some ample pushing down, and maybe they'll see a Spectre. Complexity was one of the few teams back in the early days of Dota 2 to run Spectre semi-consistently, so we could see a very, very sort of safe pickup by Complexity for their last pick.
Now, do you think they're going to do a support Rubik or a support Shadow Shaman? We saw a lot of support Shadow Shamans by the Chinese, but they weren't that adverse to using Rubik either.
I think just because Rubik, he needs a lot of... Just if you saw the way Dendi played him, and you want to get the 4-staff Flink to steal the Ravage, then you want to get as much farm and mobility items as possible, especially since there's no Darkseer to set him up. So I think we're probably going to see a Rubik solo mid, especially up against this magical damage. You want null field maxed as well, so getting that, all those skills up to their max level really requires a solo mid Rubik.
Yeah, that is really true. Complexity does have a pretty good ball of fighting, despite not having like a giant AoE ulti. If they do get that aura up pretty quick, plus the Beastmaster aura, plus have Chen creeps around, that's very survivable creeps with a mech on top of that, and it's pretty defensible to what PB is working with right now. And they actually go for a Bounty Hunter, so that could be their long lane solo. They could throw him in a mid lane as well, kind of depends on how crucial of a role they want him to play. Do they want to guarantee him for him, or do they want to just throw him on the off lane and say we're going to lose that lane no matter what? I don't know if they can really do that though, because Bounty Hunter is not going to be able to counter push at all. He can't really pull the creep wave past either. I mean, he can go invis if things get bad, but I feel like PB doesn't really have a good option to stop any really fast pushing coming from Complexity in the early game.
Well, there's a couple things they can do in response to that. One thing is that they can take towers of their own, like you mentioned earlier. Leshrac is the king of taking earlier towers, so I think with Edict and with Nature's Prophet coming out of the jungle, which most likely he will be with this laning setup, he'll be coming out of the jungle to push on very early with the Leshrac. They can take towers as fast, if not faster, than the Chen Beastmaster combo or the Chen Shadow Shaman combo, just because Chen is the only really solo pusher there. So they could trade towers, and the real key for Bounty Hunter is just get level 6, try not to die, and then once you get into the mid-game with Track Ult, man, you can get we can get so much gold so fast with that hero, especially in conjunction with the Nature's Prophet. Ganking all over the map, it's going to be very, very difficult to stop.
Yeah, you just go invisible and you look for anybody that you can find in the jungle, then all of a sudden he initiates as the Nature's Prophet teleports and you have a Sprout on top of that. It's just a little bit extra oomph to try to score you that extra track gold. And it is pretty amazing to see that thing sway battles sometimes. But there's just a little bit of time left in the picking stage. Complexity goes with the Faces Void hard carry. Wow,
Yeah,
so, cool.
they really didn't have too many other options. They had to go for either Spectre, Void, or maybe some unknown hard carry, maybe like a mid-game carry like a Night Stalker, but Void seems to be the safest pickup, and Complexity will run most likely the Necro 3, especially since there's a Bounty Hunter to get that true sight. But Necro 3 in conjunction with the Chronosphere, if he gets a Mantis style, even more illusions pounding away, and it's going to be pretty difficult to stop. And one thing that you do have to know is that Void has the Chrono. He can trap Tide in, or he can jump in, trap Tide, if he stays far enough, allowing Ruby to get an easy spell steal, so there's a lot of AoE. So Complexity's lineup is looking pretty strong, but they really need to hold out the mid game before they can get to the point where they're really, really dominant.
Yeah, and I especially like the fact that they have a Beastmaster plus a Void. Void is a Bash hero, if he does level that up, which he will at some point, and Bash is really good with attack speed, so those will be very synergistic. And finally, we see a Dragon Knight on PotmBot. What did we see out of the Chinese teams? They were doing a Dragon Knight plus one other hero. That was very weird. Was it Luna Dragon Knight or something like that? I can't remember.
I honestly
OGD?
can't remember either. I think they did Dragon Knight Morphling was mostly the common build, just so Dragon Knight could take up and try to get as much late game as possible. Or Dragon Knight in conjunction with some other semi-early carry, maybe like a Gondar or a Luna or something like that. But I'm not really too sure, honestly, how PotmBot will lane this. That's the only difficult thing. Most likely we're going to have Leshrac on the top lane, just so you can get early pushes. I think we're probably going to see Bounty Hunter in the solo bot lane, Tide Hunter maybe supporting the Leshrac, and Dragon Knight solo mid, or maybe we're going to have roaming Tide Hunter with Dragon Knight solo mid. That's probably the likely choice.
Yeah, the stuns aren't that amazing for PotmBot, but if they can lead off with Dragon Knight stun, follow up with a Lesh, and do a Ravage, I think they're going to be okay here. Actually, the maybe even the Dire team is going to be a little bit more hurt, especially pre-6. I think they're going to have a little bit of issues, but let's go over the players really quick here for the Radiant team. This is Complexity. We have Hannah Montana playing the Beastmaster, Complexity's Fluff and Stuff playing the Chen, IX Mike is on Shadow Shaman, Complexity's 007, this is their 5th mystery player. He's going to be playing Rubik. And then finally we have TC playing the Faces Void. He has some sweet headgear. I haven't seen this before.
And meanwhile on PotmBot we have the Captain Fog playing the Leshrac, Tides of Time the support player playing the Tide Hunter, Ali 2000 the carry player playing the Dragon Knight, Dopehead Gaming, which it might be way too sexy, it might be snaking, probably snaking, playing the Bounty Hunter, and last but not least it is Nature's Prophet being played by Angel Wind Sword, so that could be way too sexy. It could be a stand-in Sora. I'm not really too sure. These names are a little bit deceptive.
Yeah, they started changing their names a little bit when they were upset that Complexity would not share who their 5th player was. So I don't know if they ended up telling them or not, but that was their retaliatory plays here. Hannah Montana's going to drop the trees on the top lane. He got every single one of them. It's a nice play by him. That's going to help him check out if there's any support heroes coming from the side jungle. And that's actually kind of dangerous, especially if it's, I don't know if it's Tide farm. It's going to be Lesh getting farm for sure. So Lesh will be getting farm, and Tide's going to be the one trying to harass. So shouldn't be that big of a deal.
And Fluff staying close to the top lane. Most likely he will go into defensive jungle once it shapes up, because Beastmaster are just getting extra mana. But one thing Complexity does have to watch for is, especially with Nature's Prophet jungling it up, most likely, they're going to have to watch out for the early push. And once Leshrac gets enough Edict, and I like that Leshrac is receiving a good amount of farm, he will be the mid-game powerhouse if he can manage to pick up a lot of farm. And if he gets a lot of farm, then he can be really, really devastating in mid-game. And with a lot of levels, the Edict, early tower pushes mean so much gold for your team.
And Bounty Hunter's going to do a little bit of creep pulling on the wave. IX Mike will see this happening. We'll see if he tries to mess with this pull or not. It's going to set very similar to what we see out of Spirit Bears here. He's got a Stout Shield and 2 Tangos plus a Salve, so a lot of regen here. And he's going to take a decent amount from IX Mike, but he's going to pull that all the way back to his tower and get some free farm, or some free EXP from that, which will help a lot. Mid lane Dragon Knight actually going without any regen at all, 3 Ironwood branches. You're going to pick up a super fast bottle here and try to control that with just the bottle.
Yeah, it's going to come down to how well 007 can prevent him, because if he manages to not get last hits, then it'll be very difficult. But Dragon Knight smartly picked up the level 1 of Breath of Fire. Already has about it'll be on his way soon enough. And right now, Hannah Montana is staying surprisingly close, knowing that Nature's Prophet is going to be jungling in Tides of Time. Took a bit of damage, but now he's going to stay back. He is only level 1 at this point. He managed to get 36 experience. Nothing to write home about. But meanwhile, Bounty Hunter just doing the tangle with the creeps in the top lane. You might be able to pick up level 2 in about 1.5 more waves. And once he does that, the more experience he can get, the better. And we'll see if Complexity picks up Sentry Wards or Dust to try to counteract the Bounty Hunter.
Yeah, they actually already have sentries. So Mike is just sitting here kind of waiting to do anything. He's going to sap some EXP from the wave because he wants to hit level 2 at least, so that he can get Shackles and have a disable in case that Bounty Hunter does show up in the lane. And right now he is invisible. There's no Sentry Ward placed just yet, and I'm sure that Bounty Hunter's checking this, so he knows he's going to be safer. But there's the Sentry actually placed down, but once again, Mike doesn't have the Shackle just yet, so he's going to force him back outside of range, and Bounty Hunter will survive.
Yeah, and unluckily for PotmBot, Complexity Hannah Montana already hit level 2, so he will have Call of the Wild, so he can scout out runes a bit more, scout out map positioning, and maybe even send the Hawk to scout out the Bounty Hunter, but we'll see if he lives that long. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, 007 has his bottle, and Dragon Knight is forced to bottle Crow like nobody else. But as long as Dragon Knight does not die, he should be okay in this lane, and if he gets a lot of levels, a lot of farm, he'll be very, very devastating in the mid game.
Yeah, this is a pretty normal thing that we see out of Dragon Knights. They'll basically just bring the bottle to them, they'll spam out the Breath of Fire, grab a last hit and possibly harass it, then immediately put the bottle back on the courier. And there's actually going to be a tornado, but I don't even feel that bad for the Dragon Knight, because since he is bottle crowing and he has 1 level of Dragon Blood, he's actually getting decent regen from this. It's going to hurt his allies a little bit because they're not going to have as much opportunity to use the courier, but considering Bounty Hunter's not really getting a whole lot of farm bottom, and then top lane has access to the Secret Shop, I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, and right now Rubik does have 15 last hits and 6 denies, and he's really, really outing the Dragon Knight, but he's not killing him. That's the important thing. But if Rubik manages to pick up fast 4-step Blink Dagger, if that is the build that he goes, then he'll be very, very threatening, especially since there's a Tide Hunter on the other team. Man, but it's going to come down to the Leshrac and the Nature's Prophet for the PotmBot squad. If Nature's Prophet can get some early pushes going, if Leshrac can get the early levels and items up, then they'll be powerful in mid-game. Meanwhile, it's going to come down to the Chen on the other side. If he'll do some early tower pushes, he is smoked up with the IX Mike, and IX Mike should have, yes, he does have Shackle, and he's coming out the Troll Creep. This could be bad for the Dragon Knight.
It looks like he's actually going to go with the safe way through the lane. It's kind of a smart idea here. All they really need is a telekinesis for the Shackle follow-up, and they're going to be able to get the follow-up stun. They're coordinating this really well. I'm going to miss the top lane. Hannah Montana does die. He's in some trouble. There's the net. Here comes the follow-up Shackle in a second. And 2.5 seconds to disable as they right-click him, and they do pick off the kill. So,
well, obviously PotmBot got the advantage. Unfortunately, Dragon Knight did die, but now PotmBot get the first one, and they're in position to get an early tower push. Fogged Edict is going to be cooling down. No, he just used it, and now the Glyph is used, but it'll be cooling down very, very rapidly. He does have enough mana to spam it once again, and Hannah Montana's got to play a bit safe. Tides the time does not have too much mana to work with, but this tower should fall nonetheless. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, the towers are not going to get pressure. Dragon Knight should be A-okay, and once they pick up this early tower, a lot of extra gold, a lot of extra item, and it's going to be difficult for the Beastmaster to prevent even the second tier tower from being pushed, unless you get some support in the form of the Shadow Shaman or the Rubik.
And Leshrac picks up an Arcane Boots after getting the last hit on the top tower, so slight advantage going to the Radiant team. Mike can walk past Bounty Hunter again. Bounty Hunter at level 3 with 600 gold. And TC's had free farm here. 26 last hits with 19 denies. That's an insane amount of creep denies going on the bot lane here. But he doesn't know where Bounty Hunter is. Hannah Montana's in trouble, gets fissured or split earth on the top lane, and a TP in as well from Nature's Prophet. So now second death by Beastmaster here. It's so tough to solo the long lane here. On the bright side, they're out of mana, but they're doing a ton of damage to the tier 2 tower.
Yeah, and we see the power of Nature's Prophet having enough mana, not spending all his mana in the jungle, always having TP skull so he can get back to base, get enough mana, summon some trees. And Leshrac with the farm, he is scary. He has already early Arcane Boots, he'll be able to throw out another Edict soon enough once he picks up enough mana. They have Ring of Basilius turn on, so this tower will be short to live unless 007 can get a telekinesis. Nobody has mana, fogged very, very low, steals the spell. What did he steal? He stole Edict, and he's coming in, but Tides of Time doing huge damage. Can they pick up one last hit on Complexity 007? No. He's going to have to escape, but the tower very, very low. It is in deny range, so Complexity is going to deny that tower. A little bit of a wasted opportunity for PotmBot, but hey, they forced the Rubik to leave the mid lane, and Dragon Knight's going to receive some farm.
And that is a lot of gold if you do get a deny. It's over half of the gold you end up losing by getting the tower denied. So big loss there for PotmBot. A little scared for Rubik. I thought Rubik was going to die. He went super aggressive, but 3 levels of Edict when there's creeps around, you just don't get that much damage in. So Shadow Shaman is looking for Bounty Hunter. He happens to be in the jungle at the moment, not getting a whole lot of EXP, but just playing it pretty safe. Fluff is level 4 as well, and it looks like PotmBot's going to go back to farming the jungle a little bit. And now this is kind of the problem with taking 2 fast towers like this. There's not really any place for Leshrac to farm here. He wants to go grab farm at the lane, but finally Hannah Montana is going to be able to get CS and a level 6. So whereas Complexity is still farming the Faces Void, so that deny was a really big deal because their advantage that they should have had, it's not quite as significant.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate for PotmBot. I think Dragon Knight's going to do a couple more attacks, and then they're going to send Leshrac to the middle lane to push down that tower. Otherwise, TC will become out of control very, very quick. He went for a hand of Midas, delaying some of his mid-game power, but hey, he was farming like a beast earlier. I think he got the Midas at around maybe like 5.5, 6 minutes, which is ridiculous timing. He's been pretty much last hitting every single game, 40 and 28. My god, that is scary. And with TC picking up a fast Midas, he'll be getting his Battle Fury, should he choose to go for it. He'll be getting his Necrobook level 3, which complexity likes to run very, very quickly. So PotmBot, even though they took 2 very early towers, even though they managed to farm with the Dragon Knight and the Leshrac a bit, they're still not out of the woods by any means.
Yeah, and one of the nicest things about a Hand of Midas on a Faceless Void is that as a hero, he really, really needs attack speed more than anything else. The typical hard carry is looking at a mix of damage as well as attack speed. A Faceless Void really just needs a lot of attack speed so you can get more time lock, and that's why we see Mask of Madness on him. So it's actually a little bit better on this hero than a lot of other ones, so it's pretty fun to see him pick this up, and he's going to be absolutely scary late game.
Oh, mid lane, Ali 2000 is going to get jumped on. Telekinesis sent back, and Edict doing a lot of damage, but here comes Tyhunter. Going to scare away 007 with the Gush. Fire Breath does whiff, and he has max level Fire Breath. He is level 1 Dragon Form. Meanwhile, Leshrac is going to farm on that top lane. Beastmaster is going to stack some Ancients to try to pick that up when he can. But right now, PotmBot doesn't really know what they do, and I'm not really sure what the timing they're waiting for. Nature's Prophet did pick up a Midas of his own. I think they might be waiting for Gondor level 6 or Bounty Hunter level 6, but if they wait for that, they might be waiting for quite a bit because he's barely level 4.
Yeah, even Tidehunter is quite a ways away. Oh, he's going to de-ward this ward, though. We'll see if he can get stopped. There's a couple picks here. Pings, that is. 007 is going to go show up and think about contesting this, but here comes the Pegalesis. Is going to maybe make Tides of Time a little worried. There's the Telekinesis, puts him on the low ground, uses an Edict as well. A lot of damage on him, but the Dragon comes through. There's the stun, and Nature's Prophet is going to teleport in. This could be really bad for him. There's the Sprout. He's got a 5 wand charge. He uses it, but it's not enough, and he does get picked off, and the ward as well is going to fall.
Meanwhile, unfortunately for PotmBot, TC picked up a kill on Bounty Hunter, and now the Shadow Shaman will be providing a bit of pressure. They can't push down this tower, but Bounty Hunter being kept down. Faceless Void getting even more gold. That's not good news for PotmBot. Faceless Void already has 1,400 gold in the bank after the Midas at 8 minutes. Pretty ridiculous, but it looks like they're going to try to initiate on IX. Janata slowing him down. Can Fog get into position? Shuriken throwing down as much damage as possible. IX Mike does not have boots, meanwhile Fog does, and they're going to be able to pick off Shadow Shaman. Arcane Boots going to refill the mana of Bounty Hunter, and he will be hitting level 6 if Fog stays close enough, but 007 going to come back, steals the Edict, try to do as much damage as possible. 007 take a huge amount of damage, one more hit, and Bounty Hunter does pick up the kill. TC trying to do as much as he can, but Fluff comes in from the rear, and Fog has to run the heck away, but he is slowed. Can Fog escape? It might be difficult, but here comes Tyhunter, level 5, no Ravage. Can they pick off TC? Nature's Prophet comes in to join the party as well. They kill TC, and now Fluff is in for a world of hurt. Can he escape? Looks like Fog is going to be able to escape just barely, but the creep, the tornado is going to finish him in, and it's going to be able to stat out, and the Wildkin, or the Hellcaller, managed to get one last whack of the club right onto the Leshrac. But that was overall a solid exchange, and what is important is that the Bounty Hunter managed to hit level 6 and all of that, so you won't have to lane too hard. Now you can go into track. And meanwhile, TC did die, so that's going to be a lot of gold lost. And he is going to go for Ring of Protection Stout Shield, might be Boots of Tranquility.
Yeah, and that actually also puts Tidehunter very close to 6. Oh, Fluff missed Micro in a little bit. He's going to try to send back IX Mike here as he nukes before he does get killed. But a slight miss micro. So, yeah, big advantage going to PB from that skirmish on the bot lane. I mean, I kind of like... I think the Rubik's been a little bit too aggressive this game. Every time he steals Edict, he's like, yes, I have Edict, I can go aggressive. But the Nature, or the Leshrac one is always on as well, so he can't deal out the damage, or he can't tank up the damage that he's trying to deal out as well, so it just hasn't been working out for him.
And here comes the deadly pushing. Nature's Prophet just been all over the map. This is how you play an aggressive Nature's Prophet, just constantly teleporting. You managed to get a Midas at around 8 minutes. Pretty solid work by Angel Windsword, whoever he is. The masked hero, the unsung hero, is doing quite well in this game. And now IX Mike is level 6, can drop the wards. Will they initiate on TC? No, Ali 2000 gonna venture very close. It does have the Drums of Endurance, so gonna give him some nice auras to work with. You know, Beastmaster are gonna be teleporting into the bottom lane. Looks like Hannah Montana and Complexity wants to take a fight, but can they do it?
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting skill build on the Nature's Prophet. Oh, Tree Answer Spawn, actually, they then realize they're standing next to each other. Impossible Roar. There's the Roar on the Nature's Prophet. Getting ready to do some axes. Well, but he's out of mana as we see a great Ravage catching 2 heroes. Chen is killed immediately. IX Mike looking for wards. He's out of... He has dropped him. Yeah, they're under the Chronosphere. Chronosphere only catches Hannah Montana, the big whiff. And 007's about to get picked off. Tides of Time drops next. And Faceless Void also drops. Huge loss there. Hannah Montana tries to commit suicide. But that was 5 for 2 in PB's favor. Big win for them.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. And what really was a huge factor was Fogged, the Leshrac doing so much damage, sitting in the background, Dragon Knight taking up as much damage as possible. Really not too much damage can be done in the early game without wards constantly focusing. Void has no damage to speak of. Axes can't do too much. But one thing that is important to know is that actually, somehow, even though Rubik was inside the Ravage range, he managed to steal the Ravage. A little bit of poor timing by the Town Enter, not casting Anchor Smash, but still, even with the Ravage, they couldn't do too much in conjunction with the Void Chronosphere. And overall, an overwhelming victory taken by PotmBot, and they're going to take the Rosh as well.
I think that Chronosphere whiffed really bad too, didn't it? I only saw Beastmaster caught in there. I didn't see anybody else in there.
I think Dragon Knight, but they don't have the damage to kill Dragon Knight at this point. He is so tanky.
Yeah, that definitely makes things a lot harder. This is going to be Gush. We almost have Nature's Prophet finishing his mech. Fogged as a point booster, so he's already in good HP Tides of Time. Level 7, so all around just pretty good stats. But even Bounty Hunter picks up a fast drum. That's all he has at the moment. But he's got 4 kills, 2 deaths, and 1 assist, which is great for long lane. Fluff going to get caught, actually. Takes the slow track as well, as it's looking bad for them. But he's going to be able to track right back on somebody. They'll be able to get out of here. But no, stun in 007. Try to send him back. Will he hit Pop the heal? He does, but he doesn't survive. Gets picked off, and Fluff as well may also drop. And Fluff goes down. Bad TP from Nature's Prophet, but he's going to free himself. And the chase may continue, but there's a lot of dead heroes in complexity, and they can't fight this.
Nature's Prophet working with the trees, but the trees are his bane sometimes. Couldn't get the aggressive strat out because he teleported himself in. But still, not too much to worry about. Ali 2000 just popped the Dragon form, so they had the Poison Dragon to work with for quite a bit. They have plenty of drum charges to work with, and Tides of Time Ravage will be cooling down in about 29-28 seconds, and it's looking very, very grim for complexity, and that early Hand of Mice might come back to bite Void a little bit in the butt because he has no damage to speak of at this point.
And it's kind of an interesting conundrum too, because at the bot lane he had about 1,400 gold when he went for that dive to try to score the kill, and the items he has now is probably about that. He could have had a wand, maybe a poor man's, maybe a tranquil boots as well, and maybe bought himself some more time on that bot lane, who knows. But he's going back to the top to farm. He does have to pick up some items before he can start being useful. But that's the problem with Face's Void. He's got a Chronosphere that's really, really good, but he's got no damage until he gets a lot of attack speed, or at least a Battle Fury or something.
Yeah, even if PotmBot doesn't have 2 AMs, which they do, they have Edict, they have Wrath of Nature coming in, they have Shuriken, they have a lot of nukes, they have Ravage, they have Fire Breath. So much area of effect damage to work with. It's going to be very, very difficult to stop. Meanwhile, like you said, on the Complexity side, they don't really have any damage to work with, and once wards are on cooldown, there goes a bulk of the damage right off the bat. Shackle and Ether Shock can't do too much. So this Shadow Shaman is not really paying out in that regard. He can't get any aggressive pushes whatsoever, and that's really what the wards are designed for. And now PotmBot, they're just going to go for the bottom racks.
Track is going to get stolen by Rubik at least, so he can stack this up on a couple important heroes. Most importantly, Bounty Hunter, of course. Very nice counter with that. But the Edict damage is hitting the tower. It's already down to half HP. Still hasn't casted any track here. There's the first telekinesis. They're going to Ward Trap on top of Fogged. Any follow-up nukes. We're looking for a Ravage from Tide to Time. He's going to catch a lot of heroes. Tons of damage. Hannah Montana about to drop, but he's going to barely make it out there unless Bounty Hunter picks off some kills. And he is almost. There's the heal. Once again, the Ward Trap is still on top of Leshrac as he does respawn, but the Dragon Knight drops and kills 2. So only 1 dead hero from PB and 4 dead on complexities. We see a buyback from Rubik.
Oh man, this is looking very, very grim for complexity. 4 heroes are still dead, and Rubik bought back. Shadow Shaman just respawns. We'll see if PotmBot stays on to try to kill the Rax. They have poison, but Nature's Prophet does not have too much mana, so he has enough mana to summon the tree, so he'll be able to do that. IX Mech gonna take so much damage. Track coming in, doing so much work. He can get a lot of gold. He's gonna be trying to be sent back, but Ali manages to get the Flame Breath. 007 takes the fall. There goes the buyback. Fog doing so much damage in the background. Void comes in, manages to pick off the Leshrac. Can kill Ali 2000. They have no damage whatsoever to work with, and Ali 2000 is gonna be able to escape. And meanwhile, the Rax are gonna take the fall most assuredly. No, PotmBot is just going to back up. They're all low HP, and right now they have an overwhelming advantage. They can come and take the Rax as they please.
Yeah, and this is not looking very good for complexity. It might go down. It's going to be close. I think it is going to get killed. Can they deny it at least? They actually give 360 gold there to the Nature's Prophet, so they do lose that melee barracks. Pretty big deal.
Yeah, pretty big deal indeed. And of course, Golograph very early in the game, but already, my God, 16 minutes in the game. And almost 17.5k advantage for the Dire. Just goes to show you, you can keep a Bounty Hunter down, but Track will just give you so much gold to work with. And of course, the pushing power gains in so much towers.
Wow.
That can't be understated either.
That's absolutely ridiculous advantages going to PB right now. So They're doing quite well. Let's look at some stat things. We have last hits and denies. Void is up there, but the next three are players from PotmBot. Hero levels looks good for PB as a whole. EX3 per minute is ridiculous for the Dragon Knight. He's got 7 assists and 6 kills. This is the main reason why he's doing so well. He's actually going for a Maelstrom, or he already has the Maelstrom. Might make it a Mjolnir. Mjolnir tank build is actually very, very good for strength heroes, with Dragon Knight in particular. Very, very useful. So a lot of gold for him. Huge net worth on the Dire team. The only person that's even at all comparable is Void, but he's still so far behind.
Yeah, and actually this is a trademark of Ali 2000. He told me at PAX that he just likes to emphasize the strengths of the heroes. He knows Dragon Knight is already tanky. And what does he need? He needs a damage, and of course clean creeps with the Maelstrom and the Fire Breath are just going to be able to clear him out so much quicker. So he loves going Mjolnir on Silver, he loves going Mjolnir on Dragon Knight, just allows them to do so much damage, since they're already pretty innately tanky. But meanwhile, let's see, Complexity, they're going to smoke up. Can they get anything accomplished with this? It's going to be difficult, but Complexity TC is tracked. That will be unfortunate, but they're going to jump on Ali 2000. Fogged is not trapped. He's going to drop a Split Earth. That's going to delay a bit. Ravage is going to be casted. Here comes the Blink and Anchor Smash as well, and just so much Baruch managed to steal the Ravage as well. Ali 2000 is going to get shackled in place. So much damage being thrown down on Ali 2000, but he is able to take it all, and Complexity is just getting wiped. They used all their cards on Ali 2000. And he just tanked it all up like a beast, and now they're falling apart.
Yeah, they got really close to killing him slowly earlier, but he popped a wand, and that was just a little bit too much. They ended up wiping 5 for 1 there at the end, which is surely going to see a GG pretty soon here. As they push up the mid-racks, I mean, they're going to have a 2-racks advantage. They have a lot of heroes that are way ahead in terms of farm levels. I don't really see Complexity coming back from this unless they get some insane team fights going on, but I mean, that wasn't that bad. I just think they're at too much of a disadvantage at this point. It's going to be really tough to come back.
Well, at this point, I mean, they threw down pretty much all of their damage on the Dragon Knight, and Dragon Knight was able to tank it all. Meanwhile, Leshrac from the back, tied to the time, once again got his Ravage stolen, so a little bit of an unfortunate play right there. But still, they don't even need a Ravage against them. Even if they have Chrono Sword, just not enough damage being thrown on the Complexity. They threw too much damage on Dragon Knight, and they killed him, but at what cost?
Yep, and that's going to be the end of Game 1, so congrats to PB, going to take a 1-game advantage here, going up 1-0 against Complexity. If they take one more win here, they will be the winners, and they're going to get their trip to Paris. This should be pretty sweet for them. We'll watch them fight this out a little bit. Only some of the players are backing out, but a good game was called, so we'll see. Oh, gonna see Aurora on Bounty Hunter. Good force staff, though. Possibly going to save him. Oh, man, 50 HP, and that's pretty much going to be it. So, nice plays.
Yeah, PotmBot just looking so strong. I think the stand did hurt Complexity. Complexity is a team that's known for their teamwork. They're known for just sticking together. And even having a stand, even if you're on TeamSpeak, especially since you're not in the LAN environment anymore, it's got to hurt them a little bit, just having their chemistry disrupted, especially for a team that relies on chemistry as much as Complexity.
Yep, and we'll see PotmBot try to finish out the pushing. I wish they would all just leave. The new player, random new player, get out.
You tell him, Purge.
Yeah, I don't know. They'll listen to me for sure, I'm sure. He's gonna try to score kill on Bounty Hunter. He really wants this kill, but I don't think he can get it.
He's too slow. Too slow. And Dopehead Garing's just like, question mark. I don't know if this is snaking, if it's Solera, I'm not too sure. But now we're seeing more disconnects on PotmBot, and I think 007, he just wants to die with... I'm not really too sure what he's doing, but anyway.
Oh, he's looking for a Fade Bolt, because he wants a kill. Alright, his HP's too high now, but... He probably like clicked a Fade Bolt and just like walked away and like set the Fade Bolt. Yeah, there it is. He set the Fade Bolt. He is actually fighting. Oh, he almost got him. That was relatively close, but he's gonna die. Hopefully he disconnects now. Fingers crossed. Come on. Come on. You can do it.
Well, Fog just stoned the game, just casting Edict. Gonna be able to melt the racks in a moment. As Ali 2000 manages to reconnect as
oh my god.
Heroes are being micro.
Totally worth it. Let's defend the last standing building. It's going to keep the game going. There he goes. Okay, good. He disconnected. So we'll see the end in just a second. This is all for you, Bruno Stats, man. I swear, this is why I do this, guys. This is why I don't just leave the game, because I want Bruno to have the stats. And now I can just say his name, and everybody's going to be like, alright, never mind. It's for Bruno. It's okay. No problem. That's how it'll go from here on out. So, cool. Yeah, game 1. PotmBot takes a big advantage, and we'll move on to game 2 in just a bit here. Yeah, just great lanes from PotmBot. Do you think there was anything that they did wrong specifically, or do you just think they had better team setups?
I really don't think they did too much wrong. The only thing that I think they did wrong was that they let Beastmaster get a bit of experience in the early laning, but they couldn't do too much, and then they really kept him down. They tied to time guys Ravage stolen twice, but these are just minor nitpicks and PotmBot overall played very, very well.
Yep. All right, guys. We'll be back in just a second with Game 2. Don't go anywhere.
Could you hear me when my mic is muted? Did you hear any like coughing or anything?
They asked me, how do you become a pro gamer? Practice, practice, practice. When my mom sees me in tournaments and things like that, she realized how, it's a big deal. If you're a competitor and you're the top player in these games, you're banking. Everything that you're doing in a game, there's sound to it. The reload of a shotgun at a corner, you're able to hear that at a distance. If someone's reloading around my corner, that guy's gonna die instantly. Everyone plays to win. I mean, let's be real here. Some of these top pro players can't even pass the second round of Pac-Man. Going up to the stage, it's really exciting. That's the thing. It's over the edge. Everyone in the background was just cheering on. With the surround sound, you're so enhanced in the game at this point. If the world was ending behind me, I couldn't tell. Focus is the key when it comes to competition. It gets really intense. Headsets give you that advantage. Command victory.